Hello Star Wars and unboxing fans. Welcome to a very special Darth Tuba Star Wars unboxing show. As you can see, I'm in a slightly different position. I am trying a selfie stick for the first time, and most of the reason for trying the selfie stick today is because I've had a few requests to show off the Star Wars collection in its entirety. I am going to try to do that for you today. Alright, so I hope you enjoy it, and we're going to start right where we normally start. As you can see behind me is my my backdrop for when we do the unboxing. Okay, as I start to pan a little bit to my left, okay, you'll see another room where there's more collections, and if I pan this way to my right, you will see that we go into yet another room. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the camera around so I can kind of just take you around and show you, everything that goes on. Okay, so I hope you enjoy it. Some people have wanted a little bit more of a close-up look of what's in the backdrop. Okay, so we're going to kind of go by shelf. Down at the bottom here, you can see some of the 3-packs that I've unopened. See behind there that there's actually some loose figures in a little display. That's actually like a cardstock display that I found online, and you just print out the cardstock and you shape them and you glue them or staple them together, and I have a whole bunch in the back there. You can see we have one of those, the more recent Bradford Exchange kind of display piece. We have some, kind of loosey-goosey stuff. Some of the die-cast vehicles. Then we have just kind of fun products like the Band-Aid packs, the vitamin jars, things of that nature. We go up to here, we have those Kubricks that are from Europe. A couple of collections of those. You can see in the backdrop there, the 3-pack Ghosts that I own opened. We have the Trade Federation two sets of 3. Just a couple of little things. There's an R2-D2 cupcake holder from Hallmark. There's another smaller version of the Star Speeder 1000 from Star Tours. A lot of loosey-goosey stuff, as I said. We have an Episode 1 bank, the Obi-Wan and Jango Fett playsets. Okay, going up again, panning up to the next shelf, you'll see we have a few Star Wars Muppets, some bobbleheads, a couple of loose figures in like square displays. In the back there, it's hard to make out, you can see that there are a bunch of the 12-inch figures that came out from the collector series over the years. I've since unopened them before starting the unboxing shows. Okay, lots of little bust-ups from Gentle Giant, a couple of little tiny little mini tiny busts that I unopened a while back from Rogue One. Somebody gave me Star Wars tissues, but I kept them in the pack. Ironically, I choose to unopen things that are worth a lot more money, yet keep stuff like that in the pack. Who knew? Here's something interesting. There's another one I'm keeping in the pack. That's a bootleg 3-pack of figures. I do enjoy the occasional bootleg, especially if they're a little bit different than the actual figures. On the top shelf, this is primarily the Bradford Exchange pieces that have come out over the years. Okay, some of them are diorama based, some of them are ship based. Up here we have the masks and helmets that have been available. Some have been available since the 80s, some are more recent, like that Boba Fett one. We have from Episode 1, we have the Newt Gunray mask. We have Admiral Akbar in the back there. We have some of the other Jedi, Clone Trooper masks, helmets, excuse me. Right. A lot of times it's just not enough room to put everything, so it can sometimes get a little cramped. Okay, continuing on, we have, these are not the original vintage, these are the Vintage Collection series. I did keep all of these in the box. Richard Volosky, you'll be so happy that I'm doing that. I do have one set that I am not opening. We'll get into this room in a little bit. This is on top of... Now, you are going to start to see, it's like pulling back the curtain behind the magic. Here is some more fun product. Okay, some things I didn't open. I do like this re-release of the Target exclusive Vintage Collection Tauntaun. There's a 3-pack I opened. There's that, whatever that thing is from Jakku. It was a Disney toy. There's that MTG cooler from Japan. And we start getting into my workshop little area here, okay? And this is our laundry area, okay? So that's in case, you know, obviously we do live in a house, so we have to think about those things as well. Over here we have the set of the Pepsi cans that came out. Never drank more Pepsi products in my entire life before or since, but I did manage to acquire the entire collection. That was one of those things where I kind of said, you know, in hindsight, it would have been better to just go online to somebody and just purchase it all, because I probably would have spent less money. I like them. I like the collection. I think it's neat. I wish that they were in color, but they seem to be lasting pretty well. There's where I put some of the 3-packs that I've opened. And up top there, you can see we have some larger figures and some play sets. There's one of my X-Wing fighter credit builds. And there's some of those 4 droids I opened up. And shying away from Star Wars for a minute, there's the Disney, those are Disneyland Paris, or Euro Disney at the time, play sets that you could get, like little parade pieces that you can get as promotions from Walmart. So why don't we pull into here? This is our boiler room. So obviously I have to be careful with where I place things, but you can see we have, you know, we've started to take up spaces on the floor. There's that, you can see that is a 3 3/4 inch First Order TIE Fighter, and behind it is the 6-inch version of that, which is incredible. I'm hoping they don't make too many more of those though, because there's not a lot of places to put them. We have the large scale Jack specific Darth Vader. This is the exclusive one, I think from Costco or from BJ's or wherever, that actually makes sounds. And you know, I have these little shelves that I've put up where I've kind of put some random things. We have, again, I've tried to start to put things in a certain type of order, but it's really hard when things come out and they're all different types of things. And I don't collect everything. These are just things that kind of come my way, you know. These are actually punch out and make it cards, and then a Jabba. I think that's the Jabba from episode 1 that kind of, you could put goo in, I think. Oh no, that's up here. But then there's a Millennium Falcon game, electronic game. There's a battle droid on staff. A lot of episode 1 items here. There's some play sets, the turret play set, the cannon play set. There's a dewback. All right, I'm not going to go through every single thing here, but you can just see that there's a lot. There's the the Naboo starship. A gift from my daughter. Actually, that might not have been a gift from my daughter. She gives me a lot of art. That actually might have been from some other students that I teach. They call me their surrogate dad, I guess you could say. My stereo that plays Star Wars music all the time. I'm not going to play it right now because I don't want to deal with any copyright issues. And then this, I kind of made up a shelf that's just kind of random, like so many different cool items over the years, from jewelry to the coins to a Viewmaster to a bubble bath to a soap dispenser to Pez dispenser. I mean, just so many cool things that I just decided to put them all together. The Jedi Council from episode 1, some popcorn buckets and Easter baskets, some vehicles. Up here we have the Hamilton Collection plates. Not all of them, but you know, a series of them. There's some more down there. More Easter baskets and a few other odds and ends. This is what they call a Ultrarama display piece. It's how I can set up some dioramas. I have a few more on the other side of the room. And then here's some more of the vintage collection. They came out in 2007, I think, or around there. These are also these special action figure sets are not the original ones. These are like Target exclusives. But as you can see, I do keep some things in the package. Oh, what is this? Ah, it's Darth Vader. Actually, it's a Darth Vader costume. Ruby's came out with this pretty nice, fairly accurate, but less expensive Darth Vader costume that I actually purchased on sale and put it on a mannequin. And, you know, rather than spending thousands of dollars on a Darth Vader mannequin, I've kind of put together a Darth Vader statue. I put together this, which is kind of nice because it is far cheaper, fraction of the price, and I can put it on as a costume. If you notice, the boots are actually like 3-inch platform boots that give me a little extra height. Moving on, we've got lots of different boxed figures. I mean, some of them will be unboxed in future episodes whenever there's a lull. If they decide not to make a movie every year. Here's some episode 1 ComCheck figures. This is where I put some of the Funko Pops. There's some cookie jars. This is my Darth Vader helmet with Mickey ears, which I think was kind of cool. A couple of Sabine figures. They just kind of take up wherever I can fit them. And then every so often, there's a couple of play sets here that I've put together. These are like more re-release play sets. Then you get into here. Let me try something here. Hang on one second. Trying to give you a little bit more light here. You can see this is a display case I actually found from a store that went out of business. And I use this to put a lot of my vintage play sets into kind of dioramas. There's the Imperial, the Hoth planet. It's got a mirrored back in there so it looks bigger. There's a few other pieces there. And I have some loose figures that I put in there. These are also coupled with a few things. This is actually the micro binocular that were actually used. I think it's a game that the Tiger Electronics had. So some of them are not vintage, but if you look back, most of them are. You see mini rigs. My cloud car, sadly missing the 2 cockpits. That was the cockpit helmets. That's the first thing to go on them. And then you have a few more play sets down here. There's the Droid Factory in the exact same piece. Jabba's Dungeon. Okay, there you go. A couple of newer pieces. This little Stormtrooper thing was more part of the re-release. That little swoop in the back there. But the vast majority of them are vintage. This is one of my favorites. This is like the Ultimate Collector X-Wing Fighter display piece from Target. It's a display piece. Why? Well, a little trickery here. It's hard to see with this flashing light there, but as you come around here, you'll notice, wait, it's half gone. Yes, that is in fact a mirror in the back to give it the full. They only had to put half the model together. So I only own half of the X-Wing model, but it takes up less room, so I'm happy. These are the only Galactic Hero sets I own. I used to own more, but I've since sold them off. This is a nice little Star Wars display. It's supposed to be kind of a throwback to the Land of the Jawas and the Creature Cantina. I just used it to fill some random figures, but it's a really nice piece. There's an old-ish Millennium Falcon. You can see it's the original trilogy collection, so it's not that old. But I kept that one in the box. Maybe we'll open it up sometime. There's some more play sets. There's a Lego Yoda. Some of the glass 2-packs that came with from Target. And even a couple of figures that I haven't opened up yet. So as you can see, there's a lot to see here. I'm going to go over here. Now obviously I'm in my boiler room area, so I give it a wide berth so it doesn't get in anybody's way. I did, just so anybody's clear, I've checked with the people that purchase, that repair and maintain my water heater and my boiler, and they said as long as I keep stuff off the ground and allowing, I think, keeping a few feet away from it, there should be no issue, and there hasn't been. So we have our couple other random items. Here are some more of the Collector Series figure 2-packs. I have them stay. It's not that I keep them in the box for any real value reason. It's more so that they're nice nicely to display, and I can switch them out and do different things. Here's some Episode 2 items. The packs. I'm thinking of opening these up in a future episode. The Cantina bar. We'll be making a little mini diorama with them. Now, this area used to be kind of like a workroom. If you look up top, you'll see that I actually utilize the rafters to display figures. Yes, there's a Rocketeer figure in there from those Reaction figure collection. I like the Rocketeer too. And you can see, as I come around, that there's a lot. Now you also see there's some spider webs too, because let's face it, it's easy to get caught up in there. So there's lots and lots of figures. Believe it or not, this whole area was completely taken up with figures that I took down and opened And now it's almost getting to be completely taken up again. There's George Lucas as Stormtrooper figure, which I like. A lot of exclusives. You can see the different packaging from the different years. A lot of the cartoon figures. Here's one of my favorites, Star Tours and Disney-fied ones. I enjoy those a lot. I'll probably do, I'm planning some type of a, I actually had a thought about opening them up and putting them in a Ultrarama display all together, because I don't think they're going to be doing them anymore. We have the Cantina Band. Let's see if I have a little. That's still, battery's still good. I probably will have to take them out eventually when the batteries go dead. More figures there. And I have more space for additional figures when the time comes. Here's the Mount Ralph McQuarrie collection. What's nice is that, you know, when you look at them in nooks and crannies like this, you forget where things are. And then you go, wait, that's one side of it. Let's go into the other side. Let's talk about this one. This is a battle droid. It's not just any battle droid. This is a cardboard battle droid. If those of you remember when DK Publishing started releasing, back when episode 1 came out, they were releasing all these great books, and they've still been releasing them. At that time, if you went into Barnes and Nobles or Borders or big bookstores, you would see on display, you would see a battle droid, you would see Pit Droid, you would see an R2-D2, and you'd see a destroyer droid, a droidica. And these items were just cardboard. They were basically cardboard, punch out and make them. And you could order them. You could order them, and they came in a flat package, and you would just work on them, and they did. So I made a little battle droid, and I built a little base for him. And I put one of those Mark Echo hoodies on him just because, to make it look interesting. Did bend his antenna a little bit, but that was bent before that happened. So now let's move around. And as you can see here, we've got a few more interesting items. This is one of my prize pieces. This is the Palitoy Death Star playset from England. It's just a cardboard playset, but I've used it to place a couple of action figures on. Ooh, R2 seems to have fallen. Let's fix him. We have more cloud cars. I do have an old cloud car that an additional one that I've purchased over the years with the fixed cockpits, and then alongside a newer one, alongside a prototype, and with a little backdrop. There's the old Ewok village. And here's those Ultaramas that I've actually done a little more to. I've painted them. We have a Hoth one. We have a Rebel one, an Endor one. We have the Geonosis Arena. We have the Trade Federation ship. We have the Death Star computer room. Down there at the bottom, we have another Geonosis. This was the part 1 Geonosis, and this was down here part 2 Geonosis. Again, it's a little bit hard to make out. We have the awesome 3 Banks, Darth Maul, Obi-Wan, Qui-Gon. I've pulled the batteries out. I pulled the batteries out of most of my toys, folks, because frankly, I'm not down here enough to activate them, and if they are not cared for all the time, those batteries leak and then they ruin the toys. These are a series of film things. You can see this one's shining through from the sun. You can actually see R2 and 3PO like a film cell. Down here we have some more vintage items. We have some mugs up top there. Yeah, pardon me for the light. We have these are Sigma figurines, and I remember buying these in like Spencer's. I bought them for very little money because they came out in I guess 84, 85, and have since they didn't really sell that well at that point because Star Wars was kind of going away. Here's a little figures display, old vintage figures displayed on a little display send away piece in the back. There's hard to see, but there's another one there. Jedi Force Play School figure. Sometimes I buy one thing just to represent. There's some more of the Sigma collection, and if I can just detail, let's see if I can get around here. And there's the infamous weirdest weirdest collectible ever, the C-3PO tape dispenser, and the way it's set up there, yeah, I don't know who was thinking, what they were thinking, but I hope they were not gainfully employed after that. We have the Land of the Jawas. We have the Super Star Destroyer playset. We have a Darth Vader. I think this is the Darth Vader lamp, but it was something that you could get at like a ceramic store where you could paint it yourself, that type of thing. I bought it like that. But and then here again, unfortunately, this is a piece I put together myself. I basically took like a Home Depot, interior closet space, and added a piece of acrylic on the front of it and on the top of it. But it's just hard. It goes back so deep that it's hard to see. It's got all of the PepsiCo soda toppers, along with some Pepsi bottles, and just I used it for a lot of the bottles and glasses, that type of thing. Below that, you see it's bending. This acrylic was not designed to hold weight. Underneath there, you have a lot of, it's a short shelf with a lot of little tiny Micro Machine figures, and here's some more Micro Machine playsets and collectibles. I will be honest, that's probably not going to last much longer because it's taking up valuable real estate. So let's actually come around here. You know, a lot of the comic book sets. Tried to put some lunch boxes in the same place. Some old, some new. And a lot of random stuff. Hey, somebody knocked over Chewie. Hey, somebody knocked over Chewie. That's where I put the Forces of Destiny figures. There's some vintage Micro Machines. Not Star Wars Micro Collection. Those are the ones that came out back in the 80s. There is that's not it's the mail away early bird kit, but the re-release of it. Now these are in fact the real vintage. Now you'll notice there aren't a full collection. What I've done over the years is try to collect at least one of every vintage figure in any kind of box I could find in a damaged package. How's it damaged? Well, let's look at this Return of the Jedi one up here. You can see they have price tags on it. This one has a price tag on it. Sometimes there's damage at the top. Why do I do this? Because they're still worth something, okay? Their condition is not as good as, say, a mint on card one, but they're still worth something, and it is nice to just see them like this. I have them protected so they don't get any more damage. Some of them are missing their proof of purchase. Down here you can see we also collected a few of the droids figures like this, and some of the Ewoks figures. Do I plan on buying them all? Here's some more up here. I don't know. We'll see. It's hard to say. Here's one with a really seriously bent one. The thing is that even with these bent cards and broken proof of purchases and everything else, they still were very expensive. And, you know, we got to consider finances. We have some more random mishmash. Here's some more newer display pieces with where the boxes themselves were backdrops, which I didn't want to get rid of the boxes for that. I thought that was a cool idea. It does take up a lot of room, though. Ooh, we have another Hot Go, I think, figure. There's an R2 cooler, meaning the R2 like soda cooler that you go into a store and pick them up. I was able to fill it with plush, which I kind of rotate out. Yes, this is an Ewok. It's from a Frito-Lay, sitting on top of a vintage R2-D2 toy chest. This one I'm happy to say I actually found at a flea market. You know, you hear these stories and you never believe it would happen to you, but it did. I found it at a flea market, so yay. Some other figures in here. We have the Death Star Space Station. These are some Disney taller figures. They make a lot of. I don't know if they're.
What is thy bidding, my master? Your destiny lies with me, Skywalker.
Nice. All right, some boxed, some unboxed. Then these displays, these wooden displays, I was able to purchase from a store that went out of business in my town. They're kind of nice because they come in pieces, and they just, instead of being all glass, which is really hard to transport, there is just some glass shelving. A lot of this is new stuff. There's the Geonosis playset. Some more ships all lined up. There's my AT-ATs, or some of them anyway. Actually, no, this is all the AT-ATs I own. 1, 2, 3, and there's that fourth one that just came out for Rogue One that we saw when we first did it. There's an MTAA playset. There's the big Millennium Falcon. There's a diorama, another Ewok diorama. I want to thank the website Budget Jedi. Great site if you want to learn how to do cool dioramas for very little money, but they look really pretty. They look really awesome. The kind of creative things that they do. It's amazing what you can find people doing. And then we've got a few more comic packs, a few more 2-packs of large figures. Yes, that's an Indiana Jones vintage figure. It is in the box, but not mint because I have taken it out. This is Luke on his speeder bike, a dewback, a couple of pizza boxes. So we have room to add some more stuff here. You can see we have some radio controlled sandcrawler, some Play-Doh, some vintage items here. You can see these vintage, this Rebel blockade runner has been, not blockade runner, the Rebel transport has been seriously played with. More comic packs. It's hard even to get a good view of this because I can't really turn to show it to you. Let's see if I can go around here. There's where I put C-3PO. This is my R2 C-3PO shrine. Just tried to, you know, come up with ways to be creative in the display area. And just like I did on the other side, here are bunches and bunches and bunches of figures up in the rafters. Some of the Unleashed figures. Many I've taken out and opened, and then only to fill them up again. So I'll probably do some more unboxings. Be prepared, we might be looking at an unboxing of all these titanium vehicles. There are a ton. And I like them, and I like the packaging, but they're just as... There might be a better way to display them. Alright, so let's go into the other room and see what else we have. Yes, it's a piano. But actually, interesting thing about this piano, any piano lovers out there might notice that this is not a full-size piano. This is a 66-key Spin-It, which is really nice because it actually fits inside of a car. It's a little heavy, but 2 people could pretty easily lift it into a car and move it around, which I used to do in high school. Now it's become a nice area to display some pieces. Like, these are all Sideshow, mostly. This little guy is not Sideshow. But everything else is Sideshow / Hot Toys. With Charlie Chaplin art by my best friend, Larry Corby, who gave that to me as a gift. Being flanked by 2 Mickey ears, one 3PO, one R2. You have some posters. This is an example of every vintage figure, pretty much with weapons, although I think there's some have repro weapons. Loose figures, of course. These are some of the battle packs. Some of them I've tried to keep in the package if they were, say, like this, with like a lot of the same figure. Like Clone Trooper things, but, you know, there might come a time. This one I might open up at some point. We'll see. And then I haven't done too much with the Gentle Giant thing, but there's been a few. I like the animated maquettes. Yes, it's some Star Trek snuck in. Sorry for any haters. Some busts, different companies. That might be Elusive Concepts, I think, is that Admiral Akbar. I found it was damaged. I managed to find it online, cheap. Again, sometimes, you know, guys, you gotta go with... Yeah, these are that game that came out a few years ago that's really didn't last long, but I thought, you know, some of the toys were kind of nice. You know, I sneak some Legos in here. I put a Statler and Waldorf in here. When I'm not around, I imagine them being like Toy Story and heckling everything. There's Donald Duck in Carbonite, which I thought was awesome. This is a Revis cookie jar. And that is the Luke and Vader Kotobukiya artifact statue, the Ralph McQuarrie idea. And there's some... I had to put this radon mitigation system in. And I thought, well, if I have to put it in, let's use it as a stand to house all of our random little tiny plushes that have come out over the years. Along with, these are those I mentioned in a previous episode, those large-scale 18-inch figures. They're a little lanky, but they're still kind of nice. That's a really nice Obi-Wan, Sideshow / Hot Toys, Luke. There's some more bust-ups, and there's some helmets. There we have some more loose figures. These are vintage, not vintage, these are newer ones. not really themed too much. Okay, I did include, if you look at some of them, I included some of their packaging, mostly so I had names. Like there was like this character, I couldn't tell you what her name is, so I cut out the name of the character to put it in there. It's amazing how many figures they've made. This is my I have a clothes rack look what's on here. T-shirts, tons and tons of t-shirts. They're all Star Wars based. It's what I wear when I do my unboxings. We have these great display cases from IKEA. And believe it or not, these glass cases, you put them together yourself, they're $60. They're really not that expensive. So I've bought them over the years, like one at a time. This one I use for a lot of Legos, some of the sideshow figures. All of these figures are essentially like the Hasbro Collector Series over the year figures that have been pretty cool. Not as good as the Hot Toys, but I didn't want to get rid of them. But I did open them up. There's another one here, more Lego cases. Things that not come around to that one. We have my coffee table here in the center. I just actually have been using it. There's a U-Wing. There's the Boba Fett Super 7, like a Shogun Boba Fett. And that's the pod racing with a ACT model sitting in the middle of it. Here's another one of those display cases with just a lot of battle packs and figure packs and things of that nature. Here's some Force Awakens figures that I'm able to stick on hooks on the side. And this display case also came from the same place that I bought a lot of those other ones. And I was able to use these for the Gentle Giant. There's a Lego stuck in there, but the rest of them are Gentle Giant Jumbo figures, which are essentially the same as vintage, only they're bigger. And then some more sideshow / Hot Toys. And just a few random small items underneath. Some itty bitties hiding a vintage Star Trek piece. Maybe someday I'll do a little quick episode with that. Some more of those 18-inch figures. Darth Maul's poor lightsaber has seen better days. Then you will see that I have taken loose figures. A lot of times these loose figures that I do the unboxings with. And sometimes they get put in little shelving units like this. And sometimes they are put in things like this. There's an entire wall of loose figures. Probably planning it at one point to fill up this entire wall. And over here. Let's go into one last room. Kind of going around full circle here. This is kind of a dance area. And lastly, we have a room. It's kind of going full circle. These have a lot of the vintage 12-inch as well as the Black Series. It seems where a lot of the Black Series end up. There's a couple of the Elite figures down here. A sideshow premium format 3PO and R2, the only premium format I own. Lots of Legos. I did rig up a light I guess that's the only one that no? Maybe not. But still, you can get the idea. Lots of Legos, love those buildable figures. Some other space for a few. There's the 6-inch thing. I built these little makeshift acrylic stands to kind of add a couple of height issues, to help figure out saving space. Some of the Think Away toys. There's Chewbacca and Kylo Ren. And there's the Han and Chewie, and you can see the buildable figure. So you can see where things have ended up. So, there you go. So that is basically the Star Wars collection. I didn't talk about every individual piece that's there. I mean, I'm going to save a few things for other episodes. There are a few other nooks and crannies that I haven't really shared, but I would tell you what you saw was about 90 to 95% of everything. So, I hope you enjoy it. Is it the most coolest display ever? No. I'm a working man with, time on my hands to do a little bit of stuff, but it's a hobby, and I enjoy, tweaking it and changing it up and trying different things. The unboxing has kind of taken up a lot of time, so I've been focusing my energies mostly on that. But You know, I do occasionally look at ways to display it differently, but you know, it's a labor of love. I enjoy collecting, I enjoy displaying it, and I'm happy to be able to share it with you. So if you have any questions or you want to comment, please feel free to do so on you know, at the bottom, and there will be more unboxing shortly. So thank you for watching. May the force be with you.